We see tons and tons of people call in saying that their kids are behind in reading.
Data shows many local kids are falling behind when it comes to reading. Tonight, a local tutor weighs in on why and what needs to be done. Plus,
but it's just the lack of communication and language, the definitions that divide us.
Last summer, cities across Washington were given the Supreme Court's go-ahead to enforce camping bans. But now Washington lawmakers want to make one tweak. We'll break down what it is.
We're waking up to one more cold morning across the inland Northwest, and then it's snow as temperatures climb.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for the KREM 2 Night Report. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Let's kick things off tonight with the forecast. The worst of the cold is behind us, but it is still going to be rather chilly in the coming days. And now we're also tracking the return of some snow. Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo live at the Weather Center breaking it all down for us. Jeremy?
Mark, it's a wild ride, that's for sure, as we head through the next couple of days. We sit in the single digits right now, and those single digits are what take us through the remainder of the night. It is likely a few spots drop below zero, but we are going to fall down to the low single digits here in Spokane. You factor in the wind and it is going to feel like it's 5 to 15 degrees below zero. Through 10 a.m., we have cold weather advisories in effect for central and eastern Washington, much of North Idaho, and that even includes parts of the west side where temperatures are expected to plummet. We are going to be cold tomorrow morning, there's no doubt about it, and even though we're a couple of degrees warmer, it won't feel that way with a little light wind. But that little light wind bumps us up in terms of temperatures by tomorrow afternoon. We're in the mid to upper 20s, pretty widespread, and that comes ahead of a round of snow. That arrives Thursday night, 1 to 2 inches, pretty widespread. We'll talk why and when and who's seeing it coming up in your full forecast. But for now, there's a look at the turnaround. 28 degrees tomorrow, 32 on Thursday, mid-30s or by Saturday.
All right, sounds good, Jeremy. We'll check back in with you later in the show. Well, tonight we are taking a look at reading scores across the Spokane Public School District. A federal survey shows Spokane and the rest of Washington is seeing a drop in reading performance from elementary students since the pandemic. KREM 2's Connor McAvoy spoke with a local tutor and former teacher. He is live in the newsroom tonight with what she's saying. Connor?
Well, as far as if you take a look at this graph right here, you can see reading among 3rd through 8th graders in Spokane is trending in the wrong direction. It shows from 2019 to now, reading scores and trends have dropped more than half a percentage point. Local tutor I spoke with says that's significant. The National Assessment of Educational Progress survey this year shows Washington State students performed higher than only 5 of 43 states in 4th grade reading. This is something tutor and former Spokane teacher Vivian Nielsen isn't surprised by.
We see tons and tons of people call in saying that their kids are behind in reading.
She's the owner of Key Academic Tutoring and Life Coaching. It's a tutoring service for children and young adults in Spokane. She says the impacts of the 2020 pandemic are still around.
The parents that call are usually starting the phone call with, ever since COVID, my kids have been struggling.
Post-pandemic reading rates in the survey show roughly 89% of students in the state at reading levels lower than 2019. Nielsen says in her more than 30 years as an educator, she found children in the 1st through 3rd grade in the public school system focus on learning how to read rather than reading to grow their education.
After 3rd grade, from 4th grade on, you're reading to learn. And so that 1st through 3rd grade is very crucial.
She says she hopes districts in Spokane and across the state emphasize after-school programs increasing students' education, as she says reading performance can affect other academic scores as well.
Math involves reading too, especially in the upper grades. So if you don't have that reading foundation, that's going to tie into your math skills also.
The study also reports Washington State received nearly $3 billion in pandemic relief funding, or $2,600 per student. This fell below the national average of funding of $3,700 per student. Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
All right, Connor, thank you very much. New tonight, a Tico man accused of raping a 15-year-old Spokane Valley girl after she posted a babysitting ad made his first court appearance today. According to new court documents, 32-year-old William Morse contacted the teen after she advertised babysitting services on Craigslist. After exchanging messages for several months, investigators say Morse came over to the teen's house and raped her. Court documents show Morse has also been investigated for contacting another underage person for sex. In a separate case, Morse is facing 12 criminal counts, including human trafficking and commercial sex abuse of a minor. His bond is set at $500,000. Another major aviation incident today, this time in San Diego. The fire department there says a military plane crashed into the San Diego Bay off Shelter Island during the landing. The plane model was an EA-18G Growler. The fire department also confirmed the two pilots were able to safely eject and were rescued by a fishing vessel after the crash. Both are now in stable condition, and no one else was on that plane. In October of last year, 2 naval officers were killed in a crash near Mount Rainier, and they were in that same plane model. And now to our night beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. In an executive order from February 1st, President Donald Trump voiced his concerns about illegal immigration and drug trafficking on the northern border. And he states a large production of fentanyl is coming from British Columbia.
A total of $1.5 billion in the last couple of months to help address this problem.
The remote nature of the border in the Eastern District makes it very timely and difficult a lot of times for if a smuggler or someone is detected and all of their fancy Border Patrol equipment, longer to get there.
The money Canada has invested appears to be working, as back in October, Canadian authorities discovered what they called a super meth lab in Falkland, BC, less than 300 miles from Spokane. Despite the focus on border protection, officials say traffickers will stay determined to get across the border. President Trump had talks with both the presidents of Russia and Ukraine as he pushes to try to end the 3-year-old war. President Trump says he held a lengthy conversation with Russian President Vladimir Putin about the war in Ukraine.
People didn't really know what President Putin's thoughts were, but I think I can say with great confidence he wants to see it ended also. That's good.
The president also spoke with Volodymyr Zelensky and says the Ukrainian president wants peace as well. But during meeting with NATO allies, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth suggested that Ukraine may have to cede some of its land to Russia to end the war. Trump said negotiations will begin immediately. Meanwhile, President Trump has signed a new executive order that put tariffs on aluminum and steel imports. Those 25% tariffs could have an impact on our local breweries. Our sister station talked to breweries in Seattle, and many owners say the cost could be passed on to customers. The potential for tariffs on Canadian and Mexican imports are also on the forefront of owners' minds.
Our primary base malt is Canadian, so grain, it would definitely affect that. We also sell spirits, and so Mexico and Canada sell spirits. That would affect us. I'm sure there's things in our kitchen that we get from Canada especially.
The tariffs are expected to go into effect next month. And that was your night beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just head to our website. That's KREM.com. Tonight we are learning more about the seizure of 171 animals from an Airway Heights kennel. KREM 2 Christian Garza shares the details.
According to court documents, Scraps has been investigating wild wolf kennels for months, but a complaint last year kickstarted the investigation. That led to the business's license being suspended after multiple failed inspections. According to the docs, multiple complaints were made against Wild Wolf Kennels about the conditions of animals who were adopted from the facility and the quality of life for the animals on the property. In June of last year, an animal protection officer responded to those complaints of negligence and found that all the animals on the property at that time appeared in good health, noting that there were 105 dogs at the kennel, which was over the legal limit for their permit. The kennel was given 2 months to bring down the number of dogs on the property. Flash forward to January 11th of this year, 2 officers went to Wild Wolf for a random inspection. After looking at the animals and their living conditions, documents say the owner failed the inspection for foul odor, inadequate water supplied to animals, and no sick animal isolation area. On January 25th, Scraps officers as well as 2 veterinarians showed up at Wild Wolf Kennels for a re-inspection. Documents show that officers flagged multiple issues throughout the property like dirty or frozen water and health issues with animals ranging from overgrown hooves to malnourishment. In the documents, it says the owner kept animals inside of her residential house as well, and when officers got inside, they found a strong and potent odor, which caused an officer to cough, and they reported a burning sensation to their eyes and nose. In total, Scraps is reporting that 171 animals were seized from the kennel, which included both domestic animals like dogs and cats, as well as livestock like miniature horses and goats. The owner's license was suspended and she's being investigated for unsafe confinement, animal cruelty in the second degree, along with multiple breeding code violations.
The owner of Wild Wolf Kennels has until the end of the month if she wants to get her animals back, but she's going to have to pay close to $69,000 plus veterinary expenses to do so. Now, we did reach out to the owner to see if she had anything to say about the situation, but she hasn't gotten back to us just yet. In Spokane Valley, Christian Garza, KREM 2 News.
As we celebrate Black History Month, we will introduce you to one of Spokane's Women of the Year.
Because of all the things that are happening in this small community, I stay busy, but I consider it a great joy to be in community. It feels really good to be in community with people.
Join us tomorrow morning on Up with KREM to hear from April Eberhardt on how she's celebrating her community while balancing different roles all across Spokane. All right, don't go to bed just yet. Covering homelessness, a new law could make camping in Spokane legal again. We have reaction from both sides of this issue tonight. And if you plan to escape the cold by heading to South Beach in Florida for spring break, there are some rules you'll have to follow. We'll tell you what they are coming up.